Hey there, Stampers. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and I thought I'd pop in today because I created this card yesterday that I absolutely love, and I just wanted to pop in and share it with you because one of the products that I used is actually on sale today and tomorrow. So it's part of the, what is the sale? Seasonal sale, where many of our dies from the annual catalog are on sale for 20% off. And this one, I think, has so much potential, but I think it can be overlooked. So these are called the layering diorama cards. And I'm going to show you a card today, but I think it's also going to be my focus for next month's class to go as well. So I wanted to let you guys know about that, give you a heads up, because if you wanted it, then you can get it for sale, on sale. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here because I'm trying to find my post on my iPad so I can see comments. Oh, I think I just found it. Here we go. All right. Okay, so we are going to play with these two items and we're going to create a super fun interactive kind of card today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Now I've got a bunch of pieces here. So I'm going to pull these out. So let's go through the pieces that you'll need first in case you want to recreate this card. Let me just find my little cheat sheet here. Okay, so our card base is Bermuda Bay, just a standard size 5.5 by 8.5 card base, scored at 4 1/4. I love Bermuda Bay, and it just, I think I don't use it often enough. It's such a pretty color though. I love it. On my screen, it's coming up a little bit more like Pacific Point, but it is Bermuda Bay. Hey there, Susan. Welcome. Hey, Missy. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I know it's kind of last minute. I don't normally do Facebook Lives on Wednesday. Normally I save them until Fridays, but I just had to pop in and share this card. Okay, and then I've got two pieces of white that measure 4 by 5 1/4. One's going to be for the inside, one for the outside. I've got a window sheet that measures 3 3/4 by 5. I've got a scrap piece of white for my greeting. I've got another piece of white that measures 3 3/4 by 5. Another scrap piece of white to do some stamping on, and then a piece of pool party cardstock that measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And you can see that I've die cut one of those shapes from the pool party. So I used, I think it was this one. Yes, so this is the 4th largest shape from the layering dioramas card, or dies, okay? So I used that and I went ahead and I cut that. Okay, so we are gonna do I think we'll start with our stamping. So I'm gonna set this aside. I'm not using this on this card, but I'm going to work on coming up with some creative ways to use these inside pieces when you're using the outside pieces on your cards. Okay, so you can watch for that. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this. Now we're going to need several pieces here. So I'm going to take my inside, so one of my 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces, the other one I'm going to set aside. I'm going to leave my pool party piece out. I'm going to bring in my scraps, and I'm going to bring in this smallest piece. So this is going to be my inside piece. And this is where I'm going to stamp kind of like a little scene. And then this is where I'm going to stamp a couple pieces that need to be cut out. So fussy cut. There is a punch that goes with this. It's the whale builder punch. So it will punch out the whale, but we're not using the whale today. Okay, so I realized that I forgot to put one of my stamps on the block, so we're going to ink that up first. I'm going to use Calypso Coral. Let's just stick it on the back of this. And I'm going to stamp one of the coral pieces. I'm going to take that off so I can see my greeting when I go to use it. And I will need coral again in a little bit, but not right now. And now we're going to take our turtle and we're going to use some Granny Apple Green and some soft suede. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my turtle with Granny Apple Green first, and then I'm going to use a sponge dauber in the soft suede and just tap a little bit of that soft suede onto the turtle's shell and onto his little leg. I don't know if I don't think it's considered a fin, but the little leg there. And that just gives him a little bit of variation in the color rather than having him be a solid Granny Apple Green. Actually, we're going to leave the green out. Okay, so we've got those two images, and then we're going to fussy cut those. So I've gone ahead and I've fussy cut that, so you don't need to watch me do that. We'll set that aside. I'm going to put that away. Okay, now this is the smaller piece of white, and we're going to take that. We don't need the turtle anymore. We're going to take our Granny Apple Green and this image here, and all of these images, as well as the greetings. Actually, all of the stamps that I use today are from this Whale Done stamp set. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to stamp it a couple times. Let's grab a scrap piece of paper here. I'm going to stamp off. I wonder if my ink pad, it seems to be, it looks like I've got a line right through. My ink pad seems to be a little wonky. I'll just stagger those. So this is going to go on top of here. So I'm going to have a look and see where I need to stamp some more. Let's do one more here, and then another partial one here. And then we're going to take the smaller seaweed bit and we're going to add in a few more. So we'll add that in there, maybe another little one there, and then maybe another one up here. Okay, so we've got lots of seaweed showing there. Okay, now while we've got these stamps out, I'm going to bring in my inside layer and we're going to stamp the inside as well. So I'm going to take this same image, and in the lower left I'm going to stamp it a couple times, and then we can do our envelope as well. What did I do with my envelope? Okay, so envelope I'm going to take, and I'm going to do it on the lower right hand corner this time. And we'll take a little one in here. Okay, so we're done with those images. Now we're going to bring back the coral, the Calypso Coral ink, and we're going to bring in the little fish. There's a little school of fish stamp. So we'll do our envelope first. Stamp that on there, and then we're going to do the inside, and we will add some more to the inside in a bit, but we want to stamp our greeting first. And then I'm going to bring back my smaller layer again, and I'm going to stamp this a few times. Okay, so we see lots of those fish. Let's do one more here. Okay, and maybe let's do our greeting. So we'll bring back, we're kind of going to all different layers here. We're going to bring back our inside piece, and I'm going to put the greeting, hoping all your birthday fishes come true. So I'm going to stamp that in the center. And because it's got birthday fishes, I want to add a few more of those fish. Okay, so the inside is almost done. There's just so many great stamps in this set. Okay, so now we're bringing in Pool Party, and we're going to bring in the little bubbles. So add some little bubbles to the inside. We can add some bubbles to our envelope. And then of course we'll add some bubbles to our card front as well. Do one more here. And then we're going to add a few bubbles to this piece as well. So I'm going to do some just kind of coming up like this. Now what I want to do is I want to have a look and see what I can see here and see if anything else needs to be added. I think that looks pretty good because we are going to add a few more things as well. Remember, we've got these two pieces here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take our coral. We'll just add some regular seal adhesive, and we're going to pop this in here. And then our little turtle, we're going to add using dimensionals. And we'll add him. Actually, let's do it a little bit over here. Do him on there. Okay, so I think that's good. All right, now what we want to do is we're going to flip this piece over. So our front layer, we're going to flip it over, and we're going to add some regular adhesive. And we're going to attach our window sheet to the back. And the window sheet is just slightly smaller so it doesn't stick out from behind. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out, we are creating a shaker card. So now I've got the foam adhesive sheets, or strips, sorry, and these you can manipulate so that it will go around the shape. So I'm kind of following the shape of my diorama here, or my, kind of looks like a puddle, doesn't it? So I'm just going to go around. So the reason why you want to follow the shape is so that all of your shaker contents don't fall to the bottom, because if we put it all the way around here, then your shaker pocket or your shaker content will just fall to the bottom and you won't be able to see it. Whereas if you follow the shape, then you're going to be able to see that shaker content even when your card is standing up. Okay, and then you also want to put some more of these bits around the edges, because you don't want to have your corners kind of folding in. And I do suggest that you stick with the same adhesive rather than switching to dimensionals for this, because this, then at least you've got a consistent height. I find our dimensionals aren't quite as dimensional as this adhesive is, so by sticking with the same adhesive, you've got that same height all the way around. Okay. All right. So now we're going to bring this back. This is going to sit on top of here, but first we need to add our shaker content. So now I was looking through my stash and I wanted to use the subtle simmer sequence, but that's all I have left. So I am going to add that on there. So this is part of the Peaceful Place suite from the holiday catalog. So, but that's all I had left. So, and I felt like that's not going to be enough in there. So then I looked at some of the other stuff that I had. I have these flowers for every season gems left. They are retired, but maybe you have them in your collection, or maybe you have something else in your collection to use. So I'm going to take some of these and put them in here. And then I also found some leftover sequins from several kits. In the past, we've had paper pumpkin kits or other card kits that had some sequins. And what I do is I have a little baggie with all different colors, and I try to put them in a baggie with a similar color. So there's a variety. There's some light blue in here. There's some Bermuda Bay. There's some Pool Party. It's just a wide range of sequins. Now, if you don't have any of these things, the other thing you can do is I checked the clearance rack, and there is on the clearance rack the Whale of a Time sequence that is on sale for $3.50, which is a pretty sweet deal. I think it was regular $8.50 or $8 something. You guys might recognize these sequins. Remember when we carried a spool of sequins that were all attached? So I'm going to separate these and put those in there. So I've got just a mix, which is really quite nice because it adds a variety of color and texture in there. Okay, so now I'm going to peel the backing off of these, all of these, and we're going to adhere it. You do want to make sure when you attach your foam adhesive strips to your base, you want to make sure that there's no gaps because you don't want your sequins, your contents to fall out. So then I'm going to flip it over and just position this over top, just like that. And then apply a little bit of pressure. And I've got a fun little interactive shaker card. And look at all the variety of things that are in there. Isn't that fun? So cute. Okay, so now we're going to attach it to this layer of white. So the reason why I didn't do the stamping on this layer is because, I should have showed you before, is I went all the way down. So I want there to be a little bit of a white border around the edges, but I didn't want to see stamped images down at the bottom. But what you could do, if you don't want the 2 layers of white, what you could do is place this piece over top and then trace around your bubble, and then just put a scrap piece along the bottom so that you don't have that, and that will save that 1 layer. I just thought it might be easier for me when I'm doing my video to just do it this way. Okay, so I'm adding some adhesive, fair bit of adhesive on there, and that's going to go in the center so that we have just a narrow bit of a white border peeking out around the edges. And then we can bring in our card base. So a lot of the products that I'm using today are actually on sale for the seasonal sale. So all of the ink pads that I'm using, the cardstock that I'm using, the layering diorama dies are on sale. Stamp set isn't, but maybe you've got another underwater stamp set in your collection, or you can pick this one up with the money that you saved on the other products. Okay, so there we go. Now we want to step this up just a little bit more. We need to add a greeting. So I've got a strip of white, and I'm going to use the greeting that says, "My love for you is bigger than the ocean." And I want it to be multiple colors. Now, if you watch my videos regularly, you know I'm not a huge fan of our Stampin' Write markers on photopolymer stamps, but sometimes there's a need for them. So I am going to do that today, but I'm going to share a little tip for you. So I want 3 colors. I want Pool Party, I want Calypso Coral, and I want Granny Apple Green. So I want the word love to be in Calypso Coral, and I want the word ocean to be in Granny Apple Green. Everything else I want to be in Pool Party. And Pool Party is the lightest color. So that works out quite well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Pool Party ink, and I'm going to ink the whole thing in Pool Party. And then I'm going to use my blender pen. So this is something I don't use very often, but it serves this purpose quite well. So first of all, I'm going to make sure there's no color on there, and there isn't. And I'm going to remove the ink from the word love. So I'm just coloring over it, and look at, a lot of ink comes off. So I'm removing that pool party ink. I want to get all of that off so that I can color it over with my Calypso Coral. I'm going to do the same thing with the word ocean. It's hard to see here. So I'm just going to go over it a couple times just to make sure most of it is off. Doesn't all have to be off because Pool Party is significantly lighter than the colors that we're using. Now I'll take my Granny Apple Green and I'm going to ink up the word ocean. And you'll notice when I go to stamp this, these end up being quite light and not super crisp. I think that's just the nature of the photopolymer with our Stampin' Write markers. And then I'm going to ink up the word love. So it doesn't matter how many times I go over this, it still will not show up super, super dark. But that's okay. It still gives you the idea of having the multiple colors. Okay, I'm going to give this a huff. Let's turn it around so it's the right way. And I'm going to stamp it down on my white. Okay, so actually it doesn't look too bad. So there you go. There's the multiple colors, and it's much easier to do it that way rather than having to try to ink all of those small tiny words with Pool Party marker. Okay, so I'm going to trim this, but I am going to leave a little bit of space here. And then I'm going to angle cut this. And we're going to bring in some of the Pool Party sheer ribbon. So just a small little piece. And we're going to add a little bit of adhesive right here. Oops. Fold this over. Stick that down. Just like that. And we're going to add some adhesive to the back of this. Because we've already got lots of dimension, I'm not going to add more dimension on my greeting. That's going to get lined up right with the edge of that Pool Party cardstock. And then we're going to take some white baker's twine. And I'm just going to tie a bow. Trim this off. And we will use a mini glue dot. I just need to grab them. Okay. Just grab it with my take your pick tool. Add that on there. There we go. There's one other thing I want to do to the outside, but before I do that, I'm going to adhere the inside layer, which is all stamped and ready to go because we stamped when we had the stamps out. Okay, and then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back those flowers for every season. And I know that these are not current. However, you can use sequins from the Subtle Shimmer sequence. You could use those as well. I think the silver sequence or even a clear sequence would work really, really well for this. But because I used all of mine for the contents, we're going to use these. So I'm just going to pick out 3 of these clear ones, and they kind of look like bubbles. So we're going to add those to our card. So I'm just going to use a little dot of multi-purpose glue. almost time for a new glue here. And a little bit here. And a little bit down here. Oops. All right, and our card is done. Look how cute that is. So fun. I just love these layering diorama dies. And there's our matching envelope, and we've even got a matching inside. All right. So, like I said, a lot of the things that I pulled out to use today are actually on sale for the seasonal sale. So I kind of put together a little sampling of a starter kit, because you guys know that we've got the Start with Savings promotion on right now, where you can purchase the starter kit for $100 and you get to choose $165 worth of product to include in your kit. So let me just show you a little sampling of what you could include in your kit. And of course, it's completely customizable. So if you have some of these products, you can always switch them out. So of course I picked, let's move this out of the way. I picked the layering diorama layering diorama dies, the Whale Done stamp set, all of the ink pads that I've used today. So Soft Suede, Pool Party, Calypso Coral, and Granny Apple Green. And then window sheets, which I forgot to pull out, but window sheets so that you can make these cards, or this card. A package of the foam adhesive strips, the Pool Party sheer ribbon, blender pens, the baker's twine. Now the baker's twine, I did not pull out the full package, but you get 4 different colors of the baker's twine, the subtle shimmer sequence, and then you could also choose, you have a little bit of money left over, you could also choose the Whale of a Time sequence, which is on the clearance rack while supplies last. So all of these products you can get. If you were to purchase them today, at the sale price, you would pay $183.01. That includes shipping and tax here in Alberta. But if you were to make these contents as part of your starter kit, by purchasing the starter kit, you would only pay $100 and no shipping and no tax. That's a savings of $83.01. And that's at the discounted price. If you were to take the regular prices, you would save even more. All right. So I will post a link in the description to where you can purchase the starter kit. I will also post a link to my online shop. If you're not ready to become a demonstrator, then that's completely fine. You can shop my online store, and I'm giving away for every $60, or for a $60 order, I'm giving away this adorable pencil pouch, which I don't have one handy to show you, with a cute little crafty saying on it. And then if you spend $100 using the host code, I will send you I'll tuck in a package of dimensionals for you as well, because we can never have enough dimensionals, right? All right, so thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's project, and I will see you again on Friday for Friday's Facebook Live. All right, take care. Bye, guys.